Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. In this video, we are going to have another mock interview for the Senior Cloud Engineer role on Azure. I have my student who has been learning from me, and he has been giving interviews since a while, and he's going to share his experience, and he's going to answer the questions. So I hope this will be helpful to everyone. Okay, well, let's get started. Um, Today I'm looking for a resource who have experience on Microsoft Azure platform for at least 3 to 4 years, and who was very good in the Azure operations and cloud automation, with the Terraform and ARM template experience and Azure DevOps. All right, and a bit more on Wintel administration and Active Directory components, right? So primary experience skill what I'm looking for is on Microsoft Azure. In this call today, we will be focusing more on your day-to-day activities, and we'll try to understand your previous experience. Then we'll focus more on our virtual machines, and if you get time, if it is not too much extended, we'll be talking about cloud identity. Then upcoming videos, we will be focusing more on networking and other components, right? With that being said, I'm over to you. You just treat me that I'm your interviewer and you are my candidate. Okay. So, and I'll welcome you for this interview, and thank you so much for your time today. Please help me understand your total experience and the kind of work you have done in the past, and stretch more on Azure experience. How much experience you have on Azure? What you have done in your current and previous roles?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have around 6 years of experience in IT, and I do carry around 4 years of experience on Azure technology. So basically, in our organization, we have an hybrid cloud identity environment, and we have a hybrid infrastructure. So basically, we have around 4 to 5,000 servers, and it maybe depends. Sometimes it may be increase or decrease based on the requirements from the project, as per the projects or development team. So as a part of a cloud infrastructure team, so we are a team of around 16 people in our team. So a couple of them work on the DevOps team, a couple of them work on the platform engineering, and most of them work on the operations, cloud operations and administration. So basically, we are working in 3 shifts, 24/7, supporting 24/7. And so mostly majority of them will be working on the business hours, like US shifts. And mostly our clients are from US. And so we are, and also we do on-call support in the weekends based on the requirements and the necessities. So, coming to my roles and responsibilities, as a cloud engineer, basically we support like we have a hybrid identity environment. So basically we will create the users on the on-premises Active Directory, and we will assign the roles and permission, and those users will be synchronized with the Azure Cloud, Azure Active Directory, and also we will invite some guest users from on the Azure Active Directory, like this B2B users, and we will also give some assign the roles based on the requirement. Yeah. And I have experience of creating the groups in the Azure Active Directory, like security groups, and managing the license and permissions for that, and adding the users to the groups based on the requirement. And also have experience in creating the conditional access policies, and based on the location based and authentication based and device based application based policies based on our compliance or based on the company or compliance. And I have experience in configuring the multi-factor authentication for the users and enabling the self-service password, and also experience in enterprise applications where we will integrate the enterprise applications from the Azure marketplace to our Active Directory on the Azure, and we will enable the single sign-on So we will configure the single sign-on based on the authentication protocols like SAML or OAuth or OpenID. Uh, and also have some experience in creating the service principal accounts like app registrations and yeah, this is some of the experience I have on Azure Active Directory, sir. And on the infrastructure end, like I have experience of working on the virtual machines, like provisioning the virtual machines based on the requirement. So basically, we will do it manually and also automation using Terraform. Also, we will deploy the infrastructure. So on the infrastructure end, we used to manage and monitor as a cloud engineer. Uh, our responsibility is to manage and monitor the infrastructure and provision the infrastructure. So we will create the virtual machines and we will attach the disk or we will increase the VM capacity or decrease the VM capacity based on the necessity. And we will also create the snapshots and create the disk from the snapshots and we will troubleshoot it. We will perform the troubleshooting of the VMs and also have some experience creating on the virtual networks and creating the subnets in the virtual networks and assigning the network security groups for the subnets and also applying the application security groups. Apart from that, I have some experience on load balancing. Also, I think able to create the load balancers based on the project requirements. And I have some experience on uh, like storage, like creating of the containers like blob storage and file shares and managing the permission to the storage account. And how to carry some experience on backup and disaster recovery solutions, which will be use Azure backup solution, like recovery service world, where we will configure the backup for the virtual machines or the SQL databases. And we will monitor the backup if there is any kind of a failure on the backup. And also we do perform some kind of a test DRs based on the project requirement and the application requirement. So we have some dedicated security team and the DR team. So based on their perform requests, the we will do the DR activities. And coming to some task components, like I have experience creating the web apps and function apps and SQL databases like Microsoft SQL database. And yeah, and also have some experience working with Terraform and some PowerShell automation. Yeah, this is about my thing. I do have some experience working with the DevOps pipeline, like creating DevOps pipelines on the Azure, like Azure DevOps. Uh, so we will closely work with the DevOps team as well. So I got some exposure working on the DevOps pipelines and following the pipelines and maintaining the security for the pipelines. Yeah. So this is all about my experience on the Azure, sir.
Do you also have experience in a Windows Server administration?
Windows Server. I didn't work on this Windows. Mostly I worked on the Azure part, not
Okay,
on the Windows level.
okay. Yeah, that's good. You touch based a lot of components in Azure, Intra, PaaS, and Azure AD, and it's right. And bit more on
Yes.
DevOps, you have some good understanding. Good to know about that. Um, so what kind of issues you face in day to day? So let's focus on infrastructure components and let's start with the compute. With respect to compute, um, virtual machines in Azure, what kind of issues you faced?
Like basically, we will get some kind of issues like relating to the performance issues, like VM. It's not getting the VM having reaching the high compute like memory utilizing the high CPU
Okay, one
memory,
is performance issues. Anything else you faced?
and also like kind of RDP issues or
RDP
application
issues.
issues.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, application issues, network connectivity
Okay,
issues.
let's start with one now, right?
Yeah.
Um, when you get a performance issue,
Mhm.
okay, tell me like what is the most recent issue that you faced with respect to performance? What
Yeah,
was the issue and how did you fix it?
yeah, like basically, we like we have I came across an issue like where the VM has been got stuck and it was not running up and running. It got stuck due to the high amount of traffic. The application in the background was taking the high CPU power, utilizing the high CPU power, and because of that, the VM is not able to it reached its maximum capacity and it got stuck and it was not able to so this is one of the issue which I came across. So where we so as and basically what we did is like
No,
we
that's
configured.
fine. Let's stop here, right? So this is for the senior cloud engineer role. So I wanted to just to go with the, I want to dig deep into each scenario that you worked on it. Okay.
Okay.
So you're talking about the performance issue, and how did you get to know about this problem in the first place? So
Yeah.
did somebody reach out to you? Like, how did you know about this problem?
Yeah, so basically what we did is like we configured the Azure monitoring and we configured the metrics for that virtual machines. So, and also we like log analytics. So whenever if any virtual machine it's reaching the beyond the metrics or the threshold limit, so automatically we will get a alert in our ticketing. So we have integrated our ticketing system like ITSM ticketing system to the log analytics workspace. So whenever if any kind of performance issue or any issue, so automatically we will get the alerts and
Okay, let me
tickets.
stop you there, right? So when you say whenever there's a performance issues, right, what is the threshold that you have set up?
Yeah, like if the CPU power or the memory or any disk I/O performance reaching like 80% or 90%. So automatically it should be like a high critical ticket and that should be triggered to the ticketing system. So automatically the alert needs to be generated on our ticket. So immediately
Okay.
we will
So
take.
the question I have, right,
Mhm.
is it 80% is gonna be high critical or a high or a medium?
80% it's gonna be like a medium. Like most 100, if it is reaches 100%, it's like critical.
Okay, maybe you might have to look at this thresholds category, right? So generally 80%, unless it is a requirement from application, so 80% cannot be a critical. It is a usual performance, right? It's not. If it is a 90%, then there could be a metric that can be configured to get alerted, because it's 90% going 95 and 100 might be impacting to the application, right? 90% is what we can get started with it, and 95% can be a severity too. Or maybe I would say it's a little bit of critical,
Mhm.
and right, then that's how you can get a alerts. Okay,
Yeah.
90, 95 and 99 percentage. Okay, whenever you see 90%, that again should go as a, P2 or a sev2, and beyond that 95 or 98 or 99, because sometimes what happen, SQL server, right? So we will still configure as that might go up to 95 or beyond as well. So we'll have some exceptions for those kind of workloads. If it is a 99% or 98%, then you can think it is a critical. It's like, it's a high critical, and somebody have to look into it immediately. And moreover, whenever we see this kind of alerts, sometimes what happens, there is an application server, database server. During some certain period of times, the performance might be high, right? Maybe CPU might be consumed up to 95%, 99 percentage. It could be only for a specific duration of time, maybe let's say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Later it will come down automatically, right? So just because of that, we cannot just increase the VM size and start working on it. It could be a usual activity during that time, every day, maybe once in a week, it will go up, right? So we have
Yeah.
to look at the metrics or monitoring. How do we ensure that these kind of things are automatically taken care? There's something called dynamic threshold or dynamic monitoring in Azure Monitor, so that has to be configured. Okay, similar
Yes,
feature.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. This also we have, sir. Like what, like if we get any critical tickets as you mentioned, so what like we have some SLAs for the critical tickets. So if any critical ticket is immediately within 5 minutes, we need to assign the ticket to ourselves, and then we need to as you mentioned, the tickets will automatically get self-filled within 5 to 10 minutes. In case if it is not getting self-filled within the 5 to 10 minutes, then only we need to take some action. We need to look into the logs and we need to log into the server and do
Yeah.
some kind of
So
analysis.
the point you need to understand is we should not be raising a ticket if it is a known pattern. Okay. So we should avoid those kind of tickets or incidents in the first place. Okay. If once it is raised, if it is a non-pattern, then the actual threshold should come into the picture, like 95% or 90%, the ticket has to be generated. So generally any performance issues will just go with the P2,
Okay.
right? Priority 2 beyond 90%, right? So, so we should define this. So when you are explaining about we have automated alerts, don't just say that, you have a whenever there's a performance issue, right? So you should tell me like what threshold you are configured it. Is it 95 or 90%? So that will have some clarity, right? And
Yeah.
you should also give a details of like, on what basis you specify 90%, what basis you specify 95 percentage, right? There, what scenarios you will be choosing. So we should be clear in those things. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, going to the next step, right? So you have seen a server, okay,
Mhm.
and that has 95% utilization of CPU,
Mhm.
and you got a incident ticket, and that
Yes.
is where you are trying to explain that, okay, whenever the CPU was high, you get a ticket, and if you are in the shift, you will be picking up the ticket and start working on it. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, now you are in the shift, you got a P2 incident priority 2, and it's 95% or above threshold utilization, right? Let's say 98 percentage, between 95 to 98 percentage. Okay, now you have to fix the problem, and you are in a critical bridge where everybody's like, looking at you to troubleshoot this problem. Okay,
Mhm. Yes.
so what do you do?
So basically, I will go to the logs and the log analytics workspace and check the log. What kind of uh, error it is, like what
It's a
kind of
CPU is
alert.
high, it's pretty clear, right? That is why
CPU.
you got alert.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here I will go to the Azure portal and I will go to the VM and I will check the uh, metrics like in the monitoring like
You still
uh,
check the metrics. Metric shows 95% above.
now.
That is one of the reason you got a ticket. Even if you go back to Azure portal, you go to log analytics workspace, you go to alerts, it will still show you the CPU was 95 and above, and you got the alert. Now we all know that it's 95% and above. The question is, how do you resolve this problem?
Yeah. So I will go to the I'll log into the server and I will check the log like in the task manager I will check which why this where it like is it causing by any application or any resources consuming
That's a
this.
good approach. Yeah.
Yeah. Or else I will also use like Proof Insights. It's a Microsoft software tool. So with the help of that tool as well, we can easily identify the issue. So it will give some kind of a better understanding with the. So based on the, in case if it is any application is consuming the high CPU utilization, or then we'll check with the application team from their end if there is any kind of a problem or anything. So I will coordinate with the application team and will ask them to check on it. I will try to analyze like is it I will analyze the logs like is it occurring only for the this time or it's frequently occurring, like I will analyze like for past for 30 days or 1 week or 10 days how these uh alerts like only at a particular time these kind of alerts are getting triggered, or it's only for now or it's continuously happening. Based on that, I will try to generate, analyze from my end, and I will try to generate some report, and I will check with the application team in case if it is an application where it is consuming to the high performance, like during the business hours it is taking time, or it's like generally. So based on that, I will try to resolve the issue, sir.
Mhm. Okay, so I like your approach. The first one that, yeah, we know that's a high utilization. You will log into the server, provided that you are able to log in, right? So you are able to log in, though it is at 95% utilization or more, and you are able to identify one of the application that is consuming more CPU. Okay, you know the cause at the moment. Okay, and
Yeah.
you also told that you will be reaching out to application team.
Yes.
So when you reach out to application team, they might say that this is quite common for us. The application consume more CPU than that's expected is what they're saying. So what do you do next?
Yeah, like if that's the expected thing, like then I will check like uh uh, if it is that like daily if it is happening, or if, then we need to find out some
It just
solution.
started today. That's why you got a ticket.
Then if that's the expected, and if that's the normal thing, then I will try to uh, uh from my end, like I will check with my seniors as well, the lead, and I will take them suggestion, and I
You
will
are
try
the
to.
senior cloud engineer, right? So
Yeah. So then if it's the normal behavior, then that would be fine, sir. But we need
mhm.
to change the threshold in the metrics for this.
Okay, but see, users also started complaining that the application is slow. So you cannot change the threshold. It's a real problem.
Yeah. So in that case, people try to we need to uh, uh, we need to check with the application team itself that this is it is not only this time, it's impacting the business and the customers as well. So we need to they need to check it from their end, and they need to also confirm with the proofs, like what kind of behavior it is from their end, and what kind of because as they mentioned, it's like common thing, normal behavior.
So what
Uh,
options you have at the moment?
So in that case, we need to like uh, as per many, we need to increase the capacity, VM capacity, like compute power.
Mhm. Okay, what do you do to increase the capacity? Will you just go and increase it?
No, we can't do it in that way when it
Mhm.
comes to the production environment in the enterprise. So we need to do the lot of analysis, and we need to check with the other teams like network
So
team
what is
and
that lot of analysis actually you're referring? What is that analysis? Oh,
like we need, yeah, sir. So we need to like um,
so,
based on our reports and
mhm.
our thing, we need to place our proofs with with the solution architects and everything, and uh, and from there in we need to get the confirmation, like it needs to be increased, the VM compute power needs to be increased. So for that, they need to get the approvals from the FinOps team and the client, and also we need to create the change process for that,
Mhm.
and we need to
Okay,
create it downtime in case if it is a critical server. So if there is a downtime required, and based on that, we will implement the change process, and we will go ahead and we will try to increase the VM capacity.
okay,
And after the increasing the VM capacity, also we need to confirm from our end that the application is performing, it's running well. If there are any kind of issues or any outages after the change in the compute power of the VM size, that there may be some chances of getting some issues,
mhm.
because the architecture. the initial architecture, which when we deployed, it was different, and now it got changed. So
Mm-hmm.
this may impact all the remaining servers as well. So we need, and the application team also needs to be confirmed from their end, and from the database team also. Yeah, so it's kind of a plan, like we need to also have some kind of a backup in case if it is not working, the application is not running after the change, then we need to roll back to the previous state, and we need to also come with a new solution. So this is how we gonna implement.
Okay, you're pretty much knows everything to resolve this problem, but it's just that the steps that you're taking is not in the right order sometimes. Okay, that's what I feel.
Okay.
Okay, see, when
Yeah.
when you see a problem that high CPU and application process is consuming more resources, and application team is saying that it is expected, and they did not make any change from their side, right? So you can do a few things. Try to understand the pattern, like you already mentioned. You will go back to the previous days or weeks or months report, understand, right? If your
Yeah.
monitoring tool has a capabilities to project you the metrics based on the service or application, right? You try to get
Yeah.
the metrics based on this application so that how much it was utilized before and how much is being utilized now, so that you can isolate whether it's an issue from the applications side or not, right? That's something that you can do the analysis, and it cannot take much time to write, just the
Yeah.
report that it will give you. Okay,
Yeah.
and sometimes we also have to understand what changes are made, right?
Yeah.
Usually, right, what happens, you read a patching for the server, Windows patching or security patches are installed, and post patching, you will start seeing these, performance issues as well, right?
Yeah.
So could be some issue with the application services compatibilities, and you are only focusing on the one of the service that is taking more, maybe the application, but there could be other applications or OS level components also might be contributing for high CPU, right? If the application saying team saying that every day it requires 60% utilization, and when you go and check, the applications are using 60 percentage, correct? And
Yeah.
there could be some other applications which might be using more, which were not using earlier, right? So we just need to
Yeah.
do this analysis and come to a conclusion, right? If you think that the application started behaving from today, it was not earlier, right? Then you can just ask insist application team to engage their application vendor to understand more on, like, why it is. So sometimes what happens, their third party components might be maybe causing this problem. Application might require some new updates, so there could be various reasons, right? So we have to
Yeah.
understand, we have to insist them. See, when you go with the data, right, and
Yeah.
everyone will believe it, right? So without
Yeah.
data we cannot just say that this your problem, this my problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we have to isolate the issues.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And another thing is that if you did some changes recently on your disk alignment, or probably you install or upgrade some application inside the operating system, did the patching, so that could also cause the problem.
Yeah.
So another good thing that you explained today was, like, performance insights, perf insights. That's one of
Yeah.
the recommended tool by Microsoft. We can run this perf insight from the Azure portal, or you can also just log into the machine and download the perf insights tool and run it. So
Yeah.
when you run these right from Azure portal, since the server is already on a heavy utilization, right?
Yeah.
So if you execute from the Azure portal, it may not work properly because it will need extension, and extension need to go inside the machine and download the perf insight tool and run it. So generally that process might get stuck in between because you're already on a heavy utilization 95 plus, right? So it's not recommended. If you are able to get inside the machine, download this exe and run it, it will generate a HTML page, and the HTML page will exactly tell you what is the issue, right? Is it a
Yeah.
process is having a problem? Is there any disk storage having the problem? So it will give you complete information, and you can review that and take the necessary actions. So like you also mentioned, right, there could be a reason why application might consume more, because
Yeah.
earlier there were only 200 users, example, right, might be accessing this application, there could be more users requesting the applications, right? Maybe the number of users might be increased, and maybe the application team who are front end, right? I mean, they may not know much about these changes, right? So
Yes.
their senior resources, maybe the project managers, might know more about this information, right? So initially the application might be configured uh, looking at the 200 users, and since
Mhm.
the more number of users coming up, so this might have to increase, the size might have to be increased, the size might have to be changed for this application, right? So the default
Yes.
standard might have to be changed. So what we generally do, we bring everything to the table, like your analysis and
Mhm.
application team analysis. Then we'll engage all the request stakeholders, application architects, application side, whoever is the person takes the approval, ownership to take the provide the approval, right? And
Yes.
same thing from the cloud leaders, right? Who are the cloud managers, they'll come on and will review the analysis and will take a decision to increase if it is necessary. Otherwise, we'll engage the application vendor to review if there are any changes required from the application side, right? And
Yes.
if your performance insight report says there's something that has to be modified, changed at OS level, you'll be taking into that consideration, right? So whenever you see a problem,
Mhm.
try to understand what is the problem and what is it like happening now, or maybe since when it is happening, how many users are impacted,
Yes.
it's like one user. So but this is a different case which we just took today, as like a performance that you proactively, or maybe your monitoring tool proactively sent you an alert before user raised a request to you, right? So this is a
Yes.
different case. But in case if there is user requesting saying that there's an issue, then you have to ask a lot of questions to understand the problem. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is about the performance issue for CPU, and the same thing applicable for memory as well, which is RAM. Okay,
Yes.
and the same thing applicable for the disk as well. Okay, if you run the
Yes.
performance insights, it will give you all the details. This
Yes.
is
Got it.
something that you have identified, that there is an issue, high utilization, and you know you fixed it. But there could be sometimes you may not noticed it, and the user is a
Mhm.
request saying that application is very slow. Okay,
Okay.
so they, how do you look into those kind of issues? One of the users saying, complaining that the application is very slow. So how do you
Mm.
troubleshoot that issue?
Yeah. So basically, I will check with the user, like I will probe the user to get some understanding about the issue, like what kind of application is trying to access, and it is accessing from the uh, like the location we was in, or is trying to access from the different
So
location.
I'm giving you an application name called ABC. Okay,
Okay.
I'm saying that ABC is very slow. What do you
Okay.
do next? A
So,
customer is really frustrated. You don't want you to ask basic questions or repeated questions.
yeah. So in that case, I will just go ahead and find out the server of that particular application where on which where the application has been deployed, and I will try to uh, find out the server name with the help of
How do you
application.
identify the application, where it is hosted, with the
This
name of the application?
Yeah. So to identify that, I will try to analyze I will go and check with the log analytics, and there we can run some twisted queries with the help of application name, and so that can be able to helpful to find out the server details.
No, I
And
don't think it's. Will log analytics workspace give you the application name, server name? If it's add application, can you give me a query, a sample query?
yeah, yeah, this is one approach which I want, or else we can also have some SOP documents where
Okay.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So from the SOP documents also we can find out the server name, and we can just go to the play server, and we will try to
So
uh,
there is no SOP document. You only have the application URL.
yeah.
How do you
Then
identify where it is hosted?
yeah, then we will search with the application only on the uh, in the log analytics only. We will search with
Where,
the
how do you search? Give me an example.
like in the log analytics we will have an option to select the application basically like
Yeah, so that is not the right approach because log analytics workspace, you'll only maintain the information about your server's performance metrics, right? CPU, memory, disk, and all. So it will not tell you the URL information, right? Okay, unless you have some custom monitoring sent to your log analytics workspace. When you see this URL given by your customer, you just need to do a ping, right? So, or NS lookup, it will
yes,
give you an IP address. Maybe it might give you some public IP address, right?
yeah,
So you can just copy the public IP and go to your Azure portal and search for it. If there is any uh, resource associated with this public IP, you will be able to see. Example, it could be application gateway. It could be your external load balancer. It could be your, Palo Alto firewall IP address, public IP address, right? Some IP addresses, correct? So then at least you'll get into the platform. Okay, you know where it is hitting. Okay,
yes,
maybe right, maybe it's a traffic manager. It's mapping to traffic manager, right? So if you don't know, then you can go back to application architect and say that, okay, we got a request from the user, not application architecture, maybe application team, right? So this user is trying to access the URL. It's very slow or not connecting. Um, so I'm trying to find this, but I couldn't find the IP address or backend instances. So they'll be able to provide you the details, right? Like in another option, you might have some inventory or SOP document that will tell you, right? So in this example, I told no, there's no SOP or inventory.
yes,
Okay. Now assume that you got a public IP address which is associated with the application gateway or a load balancer, external load balancer. Now the next step is to identify application server where this application is hosted, right? So you generally go to the backend pool and there could be multiple servers in the backend pool, right?
yeah,
So question is, how do we identify from there, right? So generally follow some naming standards. So if we follow the naming standards, it will be easy for us to identify based on the application name. Example, we create a backend pool based on the environment, based on the application. If you find it, then it will be easy for you to go ahead and check it out. Okay.
yeah,
And you can just go back to the backend VMs and check whether it is running the same application or not, right? Sometimes what happens, we do maintain this inventory with the tags, right? Every
yeah,
resource that we deploy, we add a tag called application as a tag name and a value as your ABC application name, right? That's how we generally do it as well. So you will see like many environments, when you're working with multiple customers, you might see this kind of discrepancies. Maybe the environment is not so much matured, so they don't have the tagging system in place. They might not have the, inventory in place. So you need to find some other other way to identify where it is hosted. And when you have customers like, they don't have time to give you more information, they don't have time to answer the repeated questions, right? If you want to do your homework, this is how you do it in generally, right? There could be some better ways to do it. This is something that you can get started. Okay.
yes, yes, okay.
All right. um we'll dig deep into connectivity kind of issues in the next sessions. Okay, let's understand a little bit more on the VM operations. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
All right. What is the difference between the disk snapshot and image, VM
Yeah,
image?
VM image. Yeah. So VM image, it's like we are take uh we are taking the image out of that particular VM, like so that whatever the applications and the necessary softwares and antivirus which has been already installed and pre-configured on the particular VM, and like basically VM image will be useful when we want to create the same kind of a virtual machines. So instead of doing it manually every server, we can directly create a image of the VM, so that the VM won't be, it cannot be utilized and it will be completely decommissioned. So we can create the image and we can perform the suspect operation, and then we can create a image out of it, and we can store it in our Azure gallery. And we so whenever we want to create any kind of VM with the same configuration, with the same applications and softwares and antiviruses, we can directly go ahead and you can use that image from the complete gallery, and you can create the VM from it. So this is about the image. And coming to the disk snapshot, like it is taking the instant backup of that particular VM at that particular time of duration. So it will take the complete backup, like OS backup and data disk backup. Uh, Oh, till only up to the only till the particular time when we are taking the snapshot, whatever the data and the is available on that VM, those will be taken as a snapshot as a temporary purpose. Yeah, this is
Okay.
about,
Have you ever created a snapshot? Disk snapshot?
yes, I created a snapshot.
Can you tell me the steps?
Yeah, so basically, we will go to the particular VM, and we'll go to the size in the VM overview tab, and we will check the disk. If it's a data disk, uh, we will select that particular disk, and we will, in the disk we will have an option to create a snapshot. So from
How
there we can
much time it will take to take the snapshot of the disk?
it generally takes like very less time, sir, like 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes.
Hmm. So there is a scenario, right? So you have an activity going on. There's an
Okay.
activity that will be scheduled. Okay. And let's say this OS upgrade activity. Okay.
Okay.
And you have very limited time to perform the OS upgrade. Maybe let's say you have 4 hours of time.
Okay.
Okay. And within the 4 hours of time, so OS has to be upgraded and application has to be validated. And OS validation also should be done. Okay. And we recommend to take the backup during the upgrade in case if something happened. So we should be able to recover it without any issue, right? So since we have a less time, okay, what options you will be choosing in this
Mhm.
scenario? Do you choose the Azure VM backup or do you choose the Azure VM's disk backup? Just to let you know, each machine have around 15 disks, okay, and you have around 10 disks, so 10 servers. 10
Yes, sir. So
servers, each server have
mhm.
15 disks, and you have to choose a solution. Do you take the VM backup or do you take the disk snapshot, okay, to reduce the activity from your side, activity time?
Yeah. So as generally backup takes more amount of time. So as you, if it is for the single machine, then we can go with the backup or thing. But as you mentioned, it's like 15 VMs, and we are running out of the time. We have stringent timelines like 4 hours to, so backup won't be the best solution in the scenarios. So instead of that, we can go for the snapshot. So snapshot, it's like a instant VMs, OS disk VM snapshot. So it's as I mentioned, it is for the updatation. So on the OS level, so we can just take the snapshot of the OS disk, and then we can do the updates on the OS level. And after that, we can run the application and we can perform the test. And if it is fine, then we can, in case if there's any challenges, then we can easily roll back the to the previous level. We can swap the OS disk with the snapshots to the previous version.
So why don't we take a data disk back snapshots? Why only OS disk snapshot you should be taking?
Because the application will be running on the OS levels, not on the disk.
Okay. Okay. So you mean to say that if OS is upgraded and that will be an operating system drive, so we should be good with the OS disk only. Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
yes,
But
yes.
again, so you have 10 disks, 10 machines, and you have 10 OS disks.
Mhm.
Okay, and you only have 15 minutes of time. So is 15 minutes time enough for you to take the OS disk snapshot?
Yes, we can take the snapshot of OS disk because snapshot it takes very less time. So for 10 machines or 15 minutes, for every machine, we can take the snapshot simultaneously. So automatically the snapshot will
You
be
have
created.
20 machines which need to upgrade.
Yes, sir. So as a single person, we can't achieve it, but as a team, we can achieve it.
Okay, will you think out of the box?
Uh,
You cannot have more people, right? You are only one person, and you know that has to be done. You only have to do it. You don't have any other people who's going to support because everybody on the leave. So
so we can do some sort of automation to
okay,
take the snap.
yeah, that's what I was expecting. Okay, but again, you are you're not so lucky. Okay, you got instructions
Okay.
from your management to take the all the disks backup because they might think that during this OS upgrade, somebody might make some changes to the data as well, data disks,
Mhm.
and that might cause the whole VM being unresponsive, right? So you need to take the OS disk and all the data disks into
Okay.
consideration. Now you tell me which solution you will pick it up. You have around 150 disks across the machines overall, right? 150 disks.
Yes, sir.
Do you take the disk snapshot or do you take the VM backup?
Yeah, in this case, we will go for the VM backup only, sir. No, not on the back, not backup. We will go for the snapshot only, the snapshot, because uh, we are having less time. So we will go for the snapshot of the disk snapshot and OS disk snapshot.
But how
So
do you
all
take 150 disk snapshots?
with through automation only we can achieve it.
Okay, okay, good. And in case if you need to roll back, let's say,
Yes.
okay, you have taken the backup, you took just 5 minutes to complete 150 disk snapshots. Okay,
Okay.
much appreciated. But when it comes to the restore, what is your process? How do you restore those 150 disks back to the original machines? What's your plan?
So in this case, we need to have a plan like backup plan. So in case we need to roll back it, so whatever the snapshots we have taken for all the 150 machines, those snapshots needs to be like we need to create a disk out of those snapshots using automation, and those disk needs to be attached back to the VMs.
So again, you will build a script to do all these things.
Yes, through
But
automation only.
how do you map it? Okay, your script will take care of everything, is what you're saying, right? It will
Yes.
just take the snapshot, it will create a disk, and it will just be ready for the rollback. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, that's good. Good plan. That should work. And just coming back to the Azure VM backup, right? So, um, how much time it generally takes? If you have 10 disks, each disk has around 4 terabytes, right? how much time it's going to take approximately?
For VM backup, usually it takes like usually it will take uh, a lot of time. It can be like various because based on the data, the amount of data we are and the applications uh, we are uh, it has. So it can be like 1 hour or 2 hours, or sometimes it can be like one day, 24 hours or more than
Mhm.
that.
But there's something called snapshot, right, in Azure VM backup. Generally, it will complete in 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes, snapshot also. Yeah,
So,
basically, the whenever the backup is triggered, first it will take the snapshot, and it is a temporary snapshot where it will store for available for 2 to 5 days. Based on our requirement, we can configure the policy for that. And after that, once it has been expired, automatically the snapshot will be converted, or it will move to the Azure backend as a backup in the vault, recovery service vault.
mhm. Okay, fine. So,
And also
triggering. Mhm.
here we have two kind of option whenever the backup is triggered. Like we have two types of consistencies, like application consistency and cache consistency. So uh, like that is also we need to take the consideration, and uh, during the when we want to create a backup or any kind of a disk or the from the backup.
Yeah. So now you tell me, right? So which one is the best solution again, right? If you go with the disk snapshot, there's the thing called app consistency there, right? If it is a VM backup service ensure that you take the application consistency recovery point. So how do you achieve this with the disk snapshot? Is it required? Do we require application consistency when you have a disk snapshot? And for this specific
Yes, sir.
scenario, is it really helpful?
100%, we will consider, we will go for application consistency, because if the application have some kind of a
But
dependency on the
disk
data,
snapshot will not have the application consistency, right? It will just take whatever is there in the disk, correct?
yeah, that's what I'm telling, sir. Like, like if we configure, but the thing here is like, backup will be done based on the backup policy. Like, so whenever the backup policy triggers, then only the backup will be initiated. Then at that time only the snapshot and the
Now you
backup
can
will
still trigger the manual backup, right? For this during this activity which we just talked,
during the
right?
activity,
OS
yeah, that's
upgrade.
what I'm going to do. Yeah, we will do the manual backup, or we can go for the manual snapshot
Right.
manually.
Yeah, let me stop you there, right? So we talked about two solutions, disk snapshot and a VM backup, correct? And
Yes.
you just mentioned VM backup has application consistency recovery point, which is
Yes.
good for any scenarios, right?
Yes.
So disk snapshot will not give you application consistency recovery point, right? So now you're recommending disk snapshot. Do you see any issue with the application consistency? If yes, then how do you avoid that? Still, you go with the disk snapshot scenario and avoid the application consistency problems.
No, in this case, we will go with the application consistency,
But you
like
only suggested that, disk is taking, I mean, Azure VM backup is taking so much of time, right? Maybe 15 minutes also you don't have time. You only have given 10 minutes of time, maybe 5 minutes of time. So how do you ensure that there is no issue with the application consistency and you can confirm that disk snapshot should be working? How do you plan
yeah,
your change? Yeah.
yeah. In that case, we will go ahead and do the manual backup.
Yeah, even if you take the manual backup, so the process will take 15 minutes to complete, right?
When we take the manual, yeah. So in that case, we will go. Yeah, VM backup will helpful.
So basically, whenever you perform this kind of activities, right? These are scheduled activities, am I right? So
Yes,
during the scheduled activities, your application team will stop the application services. Your database team will stop the DB services. There's no process, there's nothing is going on inside the machine, right?
yeah,
So you'll be taking the snapshot, backup snapshot, or maybe disk snapshot. It doesn't matter because there's nothing. It's already everything data has been written to the disk, and then the application has been stopped.
mm,
So there's nothing to worry about the consistency here because you're taking the snapshot after the application is stopped. So you should be good to go with the disk snapshot approach. If your application is team is agreed with this approach, that is what generally happens in every organizations. Okay.
yeah, understand. Got it.
All right. um so there are many things, many questions we can go dig deeper, and I'll help you understand, help
Yes,
everyone to understand, but I think it's going to be very lengthy. Okay, let's
yes,
stop it for now here, and we'll have another video where we'll be touch basing on those components and we'll go deeper into it. Okay.
yes, sir, sure. Understand.
I hope this session is helpful to you and helpful to others, whoever is listening. Right. This is just to give you a confidence, right? I know you know things. If I give you an opportunity to configure
Mhm.
anything in Azure, implement or manage it, there's a critical issue comes, I know you are capable of handling it. Sometimes
Yeah,
what happens, we might not be confident in explaining. I think these kind of discussions will boost confidence in everybody's, right? So that is the
yes,
reason we are having these conversations. So I know that you don't have Azure experience so far, but it sounds like you have experience on Azure. Okay,
yes,
that actually really great, right? So you have done extensive labs and
yes,
extensive research and
yes, sir.
gone through multiple times recordings, and that's where you got this confidence level. Please keep doing that, and I'm here to help you if you need anything else. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's all because of you only, sir.
No problem. Okay.
So,
And you want to
yeah.
share any experience, like how you started learning, how much time it took for you to reach to this level,
See, the
and
thing is like, sir,
Mhm. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So you're on the big, I mean, recording.
Yeah, it's being recorded. You can proceed, no problem.
Thing is like, sir, as I mentioned you earlier, like it's been like an year that I'm not working because of some personal issues. But it's been like exactly 1 year. So I was in a situation where I was not. So like I have taken a lot of training stuff from. I joined multiple institutes, and I like it. I this is like it's been like sixth institute, I think, where I joined here. But whatever the previous institutes got something the other knowledge. Means like I was able to perform the tasks like how to create a snapshot, how to create a disk, how to which kind of a stuff. But when it comes to the real-time interview where we need to explore project ourselves as an experienced guy, there I was lagging because I'm not having a proper guidance how we need to put it in a right way when it comes to in an enterprise way how we will work. So there I was uh, lagging and I was not able to clear any kind of interview. And I was just like not able to explain in a conceptual way. I was just able to give the like normal general answers like uh, this just for like definitions or this kind of answers I was able to do. But after with your guidance and with the knowledge you have shared and the way you uh, uh, teach us, it really helped me, sir, because I got the clear understanding how the cloud environment works and how the infrastructure will be and what is the process and how we approach for every task and every issue and what are the needs prerequisites we need to take before going into implement any kind of change or anything, and how we need to perform ourselves in a good way in the interview, everything. After joining your here only, I am able to perform, and within no time, I'm very confident that uh, I am good at Azure, and I can able to work on Azure technology.
Yeah, great, great. The main point I want to just bring it here, right? How did you, I mean, overcome? Like, did you do more practice, or like how it is? This guidance, anyways, there and be there to
Yes,
support you. But how did you get such level of confidence, right? Did you do some practices? How did you do that?
yeah,
Anything that you want to
I
suggest to our people?
yeah, I went through your recordings, sir. Basically, first I went through your recordings on the YouTube channel, and then I got some understanding because already I have some idea on the Azure. So after going through your recordings on the YouTube channel, then I got a clear understanding. Then I joined here, and then after joining your batch, and I went through lot of recordings, sir, the previous batch recordings as well, and I understand the concepts because uh, I followed one batch, like I think August batch, I think, where they were like people, experienced people, they were working on the Windows winter level. So they were asking a lot of questions, which so there I able to understand the subject and the concept. So I went through multiple batch recordings and I understand the concepts and the troubleshooting, and also I did lot of practice from my end as well to get a better understanding and uh, yeah, this is how
Okay,
I learned.
great. Thank you so much for sharing that feedback. See, I just wanna stress more. I do see a lot of people reach out to me for help, and they do join, they do pay for the training, but they don't put more efforts in learning. So they might lift in between, they might just leave because of their priorities, their workloads, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
I think only few of them actually put little bit of efforts, and that is what the results, right? You are the perfect example, and Satish was the another example. There are many people, in our batches. So everybody who is joining, who is going through it, please touch more and practice, and reach out for any help. Ask more questions. When you ask questions, then only you'll be able to clarify your doubts, and you'll be able to be perfect on this platform, right? So that's what it
yes,
is.
yes,
But anyways, I mean, it's a good experience and talking to you today,
yes,
and I hope this will be helpful to others, and we'll make some more conversation videos on this mock interviews. I will help you to make you an expert, and it will also be helpful to others, right? Thank you so much for your time. Thanks everyone for watching.
yes.
Yeah, bye.